Sampham. Today we are going to discuss about audit time limits with regards to CA Final. Even amendment portion was covered here. With no delay, we'll just quickly dive into and check all the 86 time limits that were given in the audit whole syllabus. Supplementary audit. Supplementary audit has to be conducted by whom? CA and AG. Within how many days? 60 days. It has right to do supplementary audit within 60 days from date of receipt of such audit report of that PSU. SLR requirements. With regards to SLR requirements, the auditor has to check that the SLR requirements were complied for 12 odd dates in different months of a fiscal year, not being Fridays. They have to check for that also. Technical reviewer need to have a 15 years of after post-qualification experience as a chartered accountant and currently active in practice of accounting and auditing. Dividend. Within 30 days, he has to pay from date of declaration. The company has to pay dividend. Premium deficiencies is with regards to the insurance company, where if the insurance contract that had happened, where the cost for that insurance contract was more than the unearned premiums, that is negative NRV. For that, it has been for 4 years, then that insurance contract has to be valued by actuarial or technical valuator. And with regards to policy surrender is like surrendering or putting down our RFD. Like that, policy holder, what do? He could surrender his insurance policy, but for that, in order to surrender his insurance policy, the policy should be 3 years old in order the policy holder to surrender. Operational audit was done in the entity for at least 3 years once. For at least once in 3 years. Under Rule 12 of Income Tax Act, if a chartered accountant who is acting as authorized representative, knowing it to be true, had submitted information that is false to a SING officer, then he is liable for rigorous imprisonment, which may be extended to 7 years plus a fine. And actual evaluation is that's what they're talking about here, a premium deficiency. With regards to fraud reporting, the auditor has to, within 2 days, shall communicate with the board or audit committee and seeking their reply in 45 days. And after he got reply, within 15 days, he has to submit to the central government and inform ADD 4. And with regards to the cost auditor appointment, cost auditor has to be appointed within 180 days from the day commencement of financial year. He will be appointed till 180 days from the expiry of the closure of that financial year. And after the appointment, within 30 days, the company shall intimate to central government. And the change in constituency with regards to registered network, that accounting firms and all, they register with regards to a particular network with the council. Then the network shall communicate the same to the institute by filing Form C within a period of 30 days from such change. The network has to communicate with the institute. Then audit of claims, where with regards to KYC documents, they have to be intimated to the policy holders within 15 days of such intimation. They have to say any discrepancies if there were with regards to the KYC documents that were given by the policyholders there. And with regards to Section 278 of Income Tax Act, where if the auditor would have evaded the tax or penalty or interest that exceeds 25 lakhs, then imprisonment should be not less than 6 months. That is minimum 6 months, which may be extended to 7 years. But if it is 25 lakhs or below, then minimum 3 years to 2 years, 3 months to 2 years. If it is more than 25 lakhs, 6 months to 7 years. And with regards to the limits which were not being reviewed with regards to the bank overdraft or cash credits, where was that is, if the limits were not reviewed within 180 days, that is once in every 180 days, if they were not reviewed, they were regarded as an NPA. The reviewer should not be having any kind of pending litigations or pending proceedings with regards to last 3 financial years on him, and she not rendered any kind of services in the last 3 financial years with that unit. And ACB, that is Audit Committee of Board of Bank, shall decide the maximum tenure of external auditors, and generally the tenure would be not more than 5 years, that is up to 5 years, but a single concurrent auditor shall not continue for more than 3 years in a single branch. Don't get confused with this 5 years and 3 years. A bank consists of so many branches. If a bank has appointed a concurrent auditor for a branch, it should not continue till more than 3 years for that particular branch. He has to transfer to another branch for the remaining 2 years. And with regards to Section 88 of Income Tax Act, no person shall be or represent an SC, that he should not be a representative of SC if he is dismissed or removed from government service or got convicted or insanment or convicted of with regarding to any fraud, and 10 years have not elapsed from date of conviction. And policy lapse and revival is with regards to the policyholder is not paying the premium amount. Then the insurance company had given some grace days, like grace period of 15 to 30 days to repay. Even in that period, the policyholder is not paying, then that policy would be lapsed, that is discontinued. If that discontinuance, that lapse was for 5 years, for more than 5 years, then it is not allowed for revival. That policy would not be revived. And the appointment of a board of directors or manager, shareholder approval must be taken at next AGM or within 3 months from the appointment of that board of directors. And with regards to temporary deficiencies, like you see, the drawing power had exceeded the sanction limit for a period less than 90 days would be a temporary deficiency. With that, you cannot classify that account as an NPE. They're talking about the same thing here. And with regards to review cycle, how often the unit has to take quality review is of the audit firm is having 20 partners or more, 3 years, 10 or more, 4 years, and if had less than 10, for once in 5 years. And with regards to punishment with 447 is if it's a fraud, that is at least a minimum 10 lakhs or minimum 1% of turnover, whichever is less here, whichever is low, minimum 6 months to 10 years. We have seen the same time frame of imprisonment with regards to amount of tax evaded with 25 lakhs, right? More than exceeds 25 lakhs. Yes, the same thing. And if it's minimum 10 lakhs and public interest was involved, the minimum imprisonment is 3 years, not 6 months, 3 years. And with regards to if the amount was less than 10 lakhs and less than 1% and public interest was not involved, then the maximum imprisonment they could give is 15 years. Minimum could be 10 days, 7 days, 21 days, or any sum, not 6 months. And with a fine which may be 50 lakh rupees. Here, if there were at least minimum of 10 lakhs, the fine would be the amount involved in fraud, or which may be extended to 3 times of the amount involved in fraud. And with regards to the professional reasons accepting, I think you would read this. This is not so much important. Why I have given is with for this definition of undisputed SIC unit. SIC unit is something unit registered for less than 5 years, not less than 5 years. That is, it has more than 5 years or more age, incorporated 5 years or more, which has end of the financial year accumulated losses equal to and exceeding its entire net worth. It's a SIC unit. And with regards to peer review board, the term of 2/3 members shall be for 3 years or end of the member on which it is earlier, whichever is earlier. Then the chairman and vice chairman of the board may be rotated every year. And with regards to NBFC report, NBFC has to do what he has to. NBFC has to submit a certificate that it is eligible for holding that certificate of registration, which was signed by statutory auditor. To whom it has to submit? He has to submit a RO of the Department of NBF non-banking supervision, under which it has got registered within 1 month from date of finalization of balance sheet, not later than 30th December. This is 30th December. Make sure this is not 31st December. And with regards to quarterly compliance of corporate governance, that is 21 days from the end of the quarter. And with regards to direction tribunal, where if auditor had involved any kind of fraud, what they have to do, the tribunal after application of CG may within 15 days may inform the company that he shall be discontinued as an auditor, and CG will, if wanted, want to appoint the auditor. And we'll auditing the balance with RBI. What do we have to check? We have to check whether any other debit or credit entries that were originated in the statement provided by RBI remained unresponded for more than 15 days has to be checked. And with regards to section 27, they're talking about the resident or actively involved auditor. That's what the same thing was similar to the in resident director in the company. 182 days have to be 180 days. Here also he needs to reside in the place where office is situated for not less than 182 days in order to hisab. And 15 days is with regards to the company shall inform the auditor concerned about his appointment, and also file a notice to the appointment within register within 15 days. After the appointment of auditor, the company shall inform the registrar within 15 days. For the cost auditor, to central government within 30 days. And with regards to LFR is submitted by statutory branch auditors and statutory central auditors, and within 16 days they have to submit to the RBI. Cooling period under 447, we have seen that the auditor is involved in fraud, right? For that, he would not, there was a cooling period given that when he got liable under 447, he will not be appointed as an auditor for a 5-year period. And disabilities for the purpose of membership is that you could read that simply below age of 21, he's unsound, insolvent, and got convicted from competent court, whether India or outside India. And submission of cost auditor report. Cost auditor report has to be submitted in form CRA 4 in XBRL format by company within 30 days. All communication with regards to cost audit for company and central government is 30 days only. And disqualifications of auditor. Disqualification of auditor is with regards to the relative holding security or interest in the company whose face value exceeds 1 lakh. You see, relative is holding, but the corrective action has to be taken by the auditor within how many days? 60 days. Free-look cancellation. Free-look cancellation is an option that was given to the policy holder when he disagrees to the terms and conditions in the policy agreement. The insurance company will give 15 days for the policy holder in order to accept or reject that free cancellation period. That is when terms were changed, etc. The peer review scope. Statement of peer review aims to confine the scope of peer review for preceding 3 years. You see, this peer review is confined for 3 years. For investigation, you can go how many years you want. Approval of name of networks amongst the firms registered in institute. When an accounting firm or auditing firm enters, submits an application in Form A with institute, the institute shall approve or reject the name within the network or not, with address. And with regards to CFS, you see the financial statements of the parent entity and its components or subsidiary entities has to be same. But if the time period was very low, they may give adjustments to only few significant adjustments. What that adjustment, if it's following AS, that gap should not be more than 6 months. And if it's following Ind AS, that gap should not be more than 3 months. And for that, a reviewer here, reviewer is a technical reviewer. And excuse me for this all blanks that I have given here. It's first time, and so please excuse me for that. We'll just categorize the things according to the chapter wise and all, and we'll have a profound PDF and all next time. Reviewer, that's the technical reviewer. If you wanted to go well with it, download the PDF in the Telegram channel that was already uploaded by the time the video is getting uploaded to you. And with no delay, we'll discuss this. Technical reviewer should have handled as a signing partner for at least 3 statutory audits as a central statutory auditor for a bank's public limited companies, government companies, private limited companies having annual turnover of 50 CR and above. You see, this 50 CR and above is applicable for the private limited company, not for this government and all. Already, it for banks, public limited companies, government companies were all individual. This private limited company has this annual turnover of 50 CR. In the above, during the last 10 years, what they are saying the technical reviewer qualification that he has to be statutory central auditor of banks or have been a statutory auditor for public limited company, government company or private limited company having turnover 50 CR, that is at least 50 CR, at least once must be in respect of those entities have other than private limited companies. That is, he has to do 3 out of 3 statutory auditors in last 10 financial years, and at least one should be other than the private company. That at least one should be a bank, or one could be a government, or one could be a public limited company. Okay, and with that said, we'll see the other qualifications with regards to technical reviewer. Technical reviewer to submit final report after all the review that was done in the audit firm. What he has to do, he has to submit a final report to whom we had appointed, who had appointed technical reviewer, quality review board, right? He has to submit that final report to the quality review board along with a copy of annual report of the entity. That is, he had to submit the question paper with his answer sheet. Think of like that. He has to submit the annual report. That's what the annual report of the entity or for the year under the review and the final report. In addition, he shall also send a copy of the final report to the audit firm under review and requesting them for a final reply within 7 days. And when he got no reply for that, he could submit that to the QRB, that is Quality Review Board, within next 7 days with the summary of his findings and technical requirements and final reply. That is what he's seeking from the AFUR, right? And his final comments thereon. And the suggested procedures with compliance with CRR and SLR requirements were you see, the auditor who is a branch auditor, right? Branch auditors, he has to ask the trial balance. The statutory central auditor has to ask the trial balance, weekly or trial balance, that is as on Friday. Don't get confused with the audit procedures, SLR requirements with 12 odd dates in the whole year other than Fridays. That is SLR requirements. This is with regards to we are consolidating the trial balance to determine DTL. Okay, this is consolidation of trial balances. That's a trial balance we should know as on Friday. And for checking the SLR requirements, we have to check other than Fridays 12 odd dates. So make a note out of that. And with regards to independent assistant, who is a qualified assistant, who is he? He is an assistant for the technical reviewer that we are talking about above. What he has to do, he has to should not be associated with the audit firm under review, and whose audit is being reviewed during last 3 financial years. That is, last 3 financial year, he should not be associated with that audit firm, and he should not have been against any proceeding pending against any disciplinary actions for last 3 financial years. You see, these were financial years, even for the disciplinary actions, it was financial years. And for the cooling period for peer review is, you see, after peer reviewer had done peer review, then whether he could accept any kind of assignments with regards to that or for the practicing unit or not. He shall not accept any professional assignment from the practicing unit for the next 2 years. He should not accept that. That is cooling period for the peer reviewer. And with regards to teaching, this is for the Chartered Accountants Act, that is a general exemption of 25 hours a week. This was mostly asked in the MCQ, which we discussed in our case scenarios also. It was repeated 2 to 3 times. Make sure this is a week, not a month. Most of the options contains a month to just confuse us. So this is 25 hours a week. With regards to investment, the investment policy has to be revised half yearly. You see, all the investment portfolios and reviews and all the limits and all approval limits have to be revised for 6 months once in 6 months. And the investment portfolio and all with regards to that. New unit in peer review. What is a new unit under peer review chapter is that new unit is something, an audit firm that was established for less than 12 months. Okay. If it's less than 12 months, it's a new unit, no doubt in it. If it is more than 12 months and it had not accepted any assurance services, then also it is known as new unit. You see the definition here. Read it. It is mostly in detail explained in the amendments video, I think. Please go and check that. Why we have been talking about new unit here is that for the peer review certificate. Why peer review certificate is so important? It is important to accept statutory audits. And that's why it is so important. Claims paid with regards to the insurance, the payments have been made within 30 days of the receipt of last document received. In case there are any delays, interest on such delays have to be paid as per IRDA regulation. You see, the insurance company has to pay the claims within 30 days from when the last required document is received. That is in case of death, we have to submit the death certificate and all. These were the documents. After all documents received, insurance company has to submit within 30 days. Doubtful assets time limit. I think this was just given for a reference, and I need not explain you a lot more about it. So well known with that. And registration of network with entities in India. You see, this is where in Form E, what we have discussed, we are registering the audit firm, and after that, in Form B, we are registering the after the name of the network is approved by the institute. After the network was name was approved by the institute, it would give a standby time of 3 months. Within 3 months, you have to reserve that name. If not, it would go expiry by the end of the 3 months. You see, this is what like this. There were 4 forms: Form A, Form B, Form C, Form D. In this PDF, go and check that out. These were the topics which we often forget to revise before the examination and all, because we don't find it often very quickly, but it might get asked in MCQ. We could bag 2 marks. In any audit AGM, if any AGM is adjourned without appointing the auditor, no special notice for removal or replacement of retiring auditor is received after adjournment. Can take in a note acted upon where the AGM no auditor is appointed or reappointed, the existing auditor shall continue. This is when an AGM had been adjourned, and in our law we have discussed, right? There were 4 to 5 points, I think, where if those all conditions were satisfied, the existing auditor would be continued to be appointed as the next auditor. First thing is he have to not be disqualified under 164, and no special resolution has to be given, and there shouldn't be any kind of resolution that was passed and he had not got selected, or he himself is not willing to he himself declared that he's not continuing with the company and all. These were the topics which I didn't remember much. This is with regards to that. And applicability of internal provisions. Why I have given this here, it should come under the monetary limit section video. Why I have given this is only for this 6-month portion, that is transition provision. This is when a company had already satisfied these things before this act had come in effect, it has to comply with these provisions within 6 months from such applicability. And maintenance of branch auditors, it is that this is from again a Chartered Accountants Act, that's professional ethics, or if a member is practicing in Hill area, he could open a temporary office not exceeding 3 months. You see, if it exceeds 3 months, he has to see that as a branch office and get registered and all for not exceeding 3 months. That is, even it touches 3 months, no problem if it's in Hill area. And associate member, why we have given associate member definition here is for the fellow membership here. Yes, fellow membership. Fellow membership is a member who is not less than 5 years, who possesses qualification, who is an associate member, for a continuous period not less than 5 years. For this, we have given associate member the definition with regards to that. And unlisted or other than actively traded equity securities and derivative instruments. This is from the bank audit chapter. Why we have given this is they have to be measured at historical rates. You see the equity share that have to be maintained at the market rate, etc., right? But these shares have to be recorded at historical rates. What qualifies this as unlisted or not actively traded shares? Well, the trading volume does not exceed 10,000 or 10,000 units. That is, if it touches 10,000 units also, it is not actively traded for a period of last 12 months. And this is with regard to if an auditor of the company, in course of performance of his duties, he has a reason to believe that there is an offense involving fraud. You see, don't get confused with regards to this and the fraud that was happening, fraud reporting in 45 days, and you have to say it immediately within 2 days to the board and audit committee seeking reply in 45 days, and then report it to central government. Don't get confused with that and this. If you get sufficient and appropriate evidence with regards to fraud, that 45 days. If you have a reason to believe that there is an offense involving fraud, then you have to report that matter to central government within 60 days. So there is a reason to believe, not an evidence. And with regards to independent director, this is a casual vacancy that has to be filled by the board within 3 months, and nothing much about it. And with regards to loans and advances, we have seen the investment have to be revised half yearly once. The loans and advances, the policy of this has to be revised once in 1 year, at least once in every year. That is appointment of the auditor. This is appointment of first auditor within 30 days from the registration of the company. And any misconduct for the members, this is again clause 1 of part 4 first schedule, where the term of the imprisonment for any member who was involved in civil or criminal liability or offense has got imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months. If it exceeds 6 months, it comes under second schedule. If it touches till 6 months, it comes under first schedule. And real estate property investment, again, that has to be reviewed once in 3 years. And risk management committee has to meet or review the risk management policy at least once in 2 years. These are the reviewing of the policies and procedures and limits, etc. And 22G, appeal to the authority. This is when you all see authority here with regards to some 22, 23, 24. This is from the Chartered Accountants Act. Any member of the institute aggrieved by the order of Board of Discipline or Disciplinary Committee involving and for imposing any kind of penalties. We'll discuss it tomorrow in detail. We'll just brush up the time limit only till now. What he could do, he could aggrieve the Board of Discipline or Disciplinary Committee with regards to penalties within 90 days. And NBFC with regards to, you see, NBFC could accept deposits but cannot accept demand deposits. Okay, when an entity accepting deposits, but it had got its credit rating so below that it cannot accept the deposits. You see, there were few calculations with regards to accepting the deposits and not with regards to credit rating, and also, so if had a downgrade of its credit rating that it cannot even accept minimum amount of deposit, then what it has to do? It has to report that position within 15 working days, and it has to immediately stop accepting fresh deposits and all the existing deposits run to maturity. And this is 15 working days. That's the only time limit that had got working days here. Make a note out of it. Listing of networks outside the entity. This is like when it was in Form D. While listing of such network within 30 days from the date of entering into the network arrangement, the client has to communicate to the council. C&AG. You see, C&AG is the auditor of what? Government companies or PSUs, public sector undertakings, right? What is his term? His term is 6 years or up to his 65 years. And whichever is earlier, he can resign at any time through a resignation letter to a president. Sale of NPA. There were, again, with regards to bank audit, you can sell NPA only if it stands as an NPA for at least 2 years. And as you see, in order to become an NPA, it has to be overdue for 3 months, that is 90 days. From that 90 days, you have to calculate this 2 years time period. That is, in total, it's overdue for 2 years, 90 days. Related party transactions. Every listed entity is formulated a policy on related party transaction that has to be reviewed at least once in 3 years. This is reviewing of related party transactions policy. And the related party transaction shall considered material if it exceeds ₹1,000 crore or 10% of annual consolidated revenue of the listed entity, whichever is lower. This is material. In order to call the transaction a material, 1,000 crore and 10%, whichever is lower. Fellow membership, we have seen this already. Peer review mandate. This is very well explained in the audit amendments video. We'll just move on with that here. This is the PDF. This is the important amendment that have got this item. Peer review mandate. Peer review certificate by practicing unit should be prerequisite for undertaking audit of all entities falling under phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 of the mandate. What is phase 1? That they have to make, or they have to have peer review certificate in order to accept audits. By 1st April 2022, all the statutory audits of the entities who have equity or debt securities are listed in India or abroad. In order to have statutory audit of these entities who has listed, that entity need to have a peer review certificate. And to undertake statutory auditor of unlisted public companies where paid up share capital not less than 500 crore and aggregate turnover not less than 1000 crore, aggregate deposit not less than 500 crore, 500,500, or practicing units rendering attestation services and having 5 partners or more. This is with regards to the audit firm, and this is with regards to the client. If in order to accept this audit or in order to do any audits by this audit firm, they have to get peer review certificate by April 1st, 2023. And the same with third and fourth. Third is the entities who have raised funds from public financial institutions over 50 CR and are having partners 4 or more. And in phase 4, by 1st April 2025, audit of branches of public sector banks or practicing units having 3 or more partners. They need to have peer review certificate. And quickly examine this is a quick definition of quickly or yearly mortality accounts. Mortality means to die, that is death. Why this name has given to these accounts is because within 12 months of the sanction, they have been into NPE. That's why they were known as quick or yearly mortality accounts. And peer review certificate that we have seen here was valid for 3 years. And rights of C&AG is this mostly widely asked question and important question also. C&AG could within 60 days conduct supplementary audit or comment upon supplementary audit report that was given or conduct a test audit within 60 days. Substandard asset, this is all you know. Special notice. With regards to special notice, whether a member of the company has given a special notice, then the notice shall be sent by the member not earlier than 3 months, but at least 14 days before the date of the meeting. This is an important time limit. Not earlier than 3 months, but at least 14 days before. And the company shall circulate that to other members at least 7 days before that AGM. And with regards to 22B, this is again Chartered Accountants Act. The chairperson of that council has to hold office for 3 years or till 65 years age. Or a person appointed as a member shall hold for a term 3 years or till he attains 62 years, 65 years, 62 years, and 3 years both. And related party disclosures, this is LODR regulations, LODR requirements, that is every listed entity within 6 months, for every 6 months within 15 days have from the date of publication of its financial statement have to submit about its related party disclosures. And what the powers of inspector were, he could take custody of any books or papers for not more than 180 days. If he could call for books if needed for a further period of 180 days, that is 180 plus 180 days. And management audit has to be done for at least 3 years. Okay, and cooling period for completion of as a director. If a company had a director and he's a chartered accountant, could he resign the company and then take audit of that? No. There's a cooling period for 2 years. After his resignation, he has to wait for 2 years and then he can do the audit of the company. Eligibility of your reviewer is quality reviewer here. Peer reviewer, that is 7 years of assurance practice experience. With regards to deposit designated in foreign currencies, the interest has to be calculated on 360 days basis. That is foreign currency non-residence account, 360 basis. And 7 years for what? Any banking company is prohibited to hold immovable property except for its own use for exceeding 7 years. That is, until it's using the immovable property, it cannot hold for exceeding a period of 7 years. That's why we have so many auctions that were going on even for the Vijay Mallya case. There were his property was sold, right? Have been into auction. Yes, that's the reason. And false declaration as authorized representative when any kind of this was even from the liabilities of the auditor, where he knows it to be false or doesn't believe it to be true, but acts as a representative or induces the income tax authorities, he would be liable for a rigorous imprisonment of 7 years. And removal of auditor before the expiry. And here, the application to the central government in Form 882, and the application shall be made within 30 days from such resolution, and the company shall hold general meeting within 60 days from the receipt of approval from the central government for passing special resolution. That is, within 30 days, you have to take approval from the central government to remove the auditor before expiry of his term. After the approval, within 60 days, they have to pass a special resolution. And with regards to time limits in auditing pronouncement, assembly of final audit file has to be completed within 60 days from the date of auditor's report, and retesting of control is done by the client, where it has to be done at least once in 3 years, and retention of audit file has to be done not shorter than 7 years. That is, minimum 7 years he has to retain the audit file. And with that said, we have completed our time limits with regards to CA final syllabus, including audit pronouncements also. And tomorrow we'll be discussing about the monetary limits and the board composition limits.